Good afternoon everyone and welcome to today's NCVER webinar, An Introduction to VOCSTATS. My name is Tony Cavallaro and I will be chairing today's session. VOCSTATS is one of NCVER's key resources which allows users to construct their own specific tables and graphs. And at today's webinar we aim to provide you with the basics and a high-level introduction to this dynamic tool. The format will be a 20-minute walkthrough session followed by an opportunity for questions at the end. And just a reminder that we will be recording today's webinar, which will be made available on our portal shortly. In terms of housekeeping, today we are using GoToWebinar by Citrix. For those of you who aren't familiar with this platform, I will briefly explain some of the components. To the left of the screen is the GoToWebinar viewer, through which you will see the presentation. To the right is the GoToWebinar control panel, where you can select audio mode, ask questions and raise your hand. To join the audio portion of today's webinar using VoIP, choose mic and speakers, otherwise select telephone. And using the questions panel to the right of your screen, you can submit written questions and comments online at any time. We will acknowledge all questions and comments submitted by the web either during the webinar today or afterwards via an email. And for your information, only we can see your question. And now I'm pleased to hand over to Mark Rudiger, who will kick off today's webinar, and he will be assisted by Martin Smolka.
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this webinar. My name is Mark, and I'll be talking for the next 20 minutes, and Martin will be doing his handiwork on the demonstrating VOCSTATS for you. What we're hoping to achieve with this is to give people an overview of VOCSTATS, on how to create tables, applying filters, creating your own recodes, and also downloading tables and graphs that you have created. So first up, how do you find VOCSTATS? So on the NCVER portal homepage, scroll down and you'll see under the featured products and services the VOCSTATS photo. If you select that, that will take you to the VOCSTATS page, and on that page is some information about the product, how to register, and some conditions of use. Access is through registration only. You can download the application form by scrolling down to the bottom of the page, or selecting the link there. Downloading the application form, filling the required details out, and emailing that back to the VOCSTATS email address, which is on that form. Your application will then be used to create an account, and usually within 2 days you'll receive an email with some logon information and some other information on the databases that are contained. Okay, so we'll log on to VOCSTATS now. So Martin's just going to put in some login details there. Now what you'll see when you first open VOCSTATS is the welcome page. So that first panel to the left is the databases, contains the databases that are within VOCSTATS. The second panel shows custom tables that have been created by users. We'll get to that a little bit later on. And then the third panel there is just some information about NCVER. Now that information will change depending on the database that is highlighted in that first panel. Okay, so looking at the first panel, you can expand on each of those folders to reveal the databases that are listed in each. So first we've got the Apprentice and Trainee databases, which is presents quarterly data on all contracts of training. The Student Outcomes database presents data from a survey of graduates and module completers, approximately 6 months after they've completed their training. The Government-Funded Students and Courses presents data on government-funded VET activity. The Total VET Students and Courses presents data on all vet training activity that is both government funded and private fee-for-service. And the vet in schools presents vet activity for students enrolled in senior secondary certificates. Okay, so now just expand on the government funded. We'll go into the time series and then open up the vet students 2003 to 2015. And then double click on that and that will open that database. So what you'll see first is the area to the left, some folders there which contain all the fields within that database, and the area to the right is the table area where you'll create your tables. In the top left hand corner under the NCVER logo is a table view, which is the default view when you first open a database. There's custom data which is used to create recodes. We'll get to that one a little bit further on as well. And then the graph view, where you can view your table that you've created as a graph. Okay, so going back to the fields list, clicking on each folder will expand and reveal the fields that are within there. So Martin's just demonstrating that. So some of these fields are hierarchies. You can drill down into the data. Just to the right of that's a divider, so you can drag that to the right. Some of the fields do have quite long names, so that can be handy just to give yourself a bit more space to read those labels. Okay, now adding a field to the table. In this case, let's add year and state and territory. So what's happened there is Martin's just dragged those, clicked on a field and then dragged to the right, and you'll see a little window that pops up that you can then drop the field into the row, column or wafer. Once the fields are in there, you can then select the Retrieve Data button to populate the table. You can also add fields into the table another way. So Mark's just going to drag that field into a trash can. You can select 2015. We're going to apply that as a filter. Now, filter is can only use with one element from a field. So what would happen now is any fields that get added into that table from this point on will be filtered by the year 2015. There's another option there, so that one. The other option up there is a wafer. So you can add several years, add that as a wafer, and what happens there, you'll see that above in the table area. What happens there, it's like a filter, but now you've got the 3 years, so you can filter that table on each year individually. Also up there, is, although not highlighted at the moment, we've got the row and column options. Now those two options allow you to, rather than dragging a field into the table, you can select either the row or column and add that field in. Once you've got fields in the table, you can move those around as well, just by selecting and then dragging. You will see an area in the table will change from grey to blue. When that happens, that means you can drop that field into that area. So each time you do that, you don't need to worry about doing the retrieve data again. You may notice with state territory that each of the jurisdictions there is bold and underlined. This indicates that these are hierarchies. So if one just clicks on that New South Wales, what happens there is it then drills down to the next level of the that field. Each time you do this, you then need to retrieve data. In order to go back, you can just select the arrows to the left of the field label, and that'll take you back to the level that you started out with. And then once again, you just need to retrieve the data. One thing that's worth mentioning is when you start using VOCSTATS for first time, or until you're familiar with the data, we recommend that you do some bottom line checks against publications that we release. Some of these publications can be found on the portal. And then when you register for VOCSTATS, you will receive an email with some links to those publications. So that's always good practice until you're familiar with the data and you know what you're actually looking for. To the right of each of those column, the field labels, you see there are three icons there, I, a sum and a C. That I icon is an information icon, so if Martin just clicks on that, that'll then open another tab with the VOCSTATS Terms and Definitions document. This document contains all the fields that are in VOCSTATS, the databases they can be found in, some general information about what's in those fields, and where the data has come from and how those fields relate to other fields. This document is not only just available to VOCSTATS users, it is available to anybody with access to the NCVER portal. Back into VOCSTATS. Okay, so now create a table with state and territory in the row. And
what I might do is just clear the table first. Start again. A nice, clean, neat table.
Okay, so just going to create that table from scratch again. So that's a good point, that with the clear table, that can be used just to remove all fields from the table rather than just dragging and dropping those into the trash can. Okay, back just to the left of the trash can is the icon there with two cogs. What that enables you to do is select from zero suppression or percentages. What you might find is with some fields, and when you drill down into the data, you can end up with quite a few rows or columns that have zeros. That zero suppression enables you to just remove those rows and columns from the table, and the percentages enables you to change the data from row or to row or column percentages. Then got print table to the left, which you can print directly from VOCSTATS. The save table icon allows you to download a table. So when you select that, you'll get to see this window here. You've got two options. There's private or NCVER Superstar. The private folder is that folder is when you save a table in there, only you will be able to see that table when you're logged on. The NCVER Superstar folder is a public folder, so any tables that get saved into that one can be viewed by all VOCSTATS users. So I'm just going to type in a name just to save that one. When you've saved that one, you'll see a message at the top, just above the Retrieve Data button, just to indicate that you've been able to save that table. There's two ways to be able to view your tables. You can go to the My Tables option in the top right hand corner. You'll see the two folders, the private and the NCVER Superstar. In this case here, Martin saved that into his private folder. So just open that one. The table open. The fields box won't be available. If you select and click anywhere in that panel there, that will reveal the fields box. So you can continue editing that table. If you wanted to save that table again, you won't be able to overwrite this one. You'll need to save that as a new table. You can also delete your tables from here as well by just selecting the tick box and then going to delete. The other way that you can view the table is going back to the catalogue, and in that second panel there, you would see that table if it was still in there. Okay, so let's go back into the table view again. You can also download your table into Excel. You've got a number of options there, so just select the Excel 2007, download that. You can then open that up and you'll see that some minor formatting has been applied to that table. Okay, so back into VOCSTATS. Back in the fields list, to the right of each field, to the right of each field there is a box with arrows in there. These provide you with the opportunity to select at different level of the hierarchy. And in this case with ANSCO, we've got all those levels. So occupation at that's the very bottom level of that hierarchy. So that will be at the 6-digit level. So select occupation at that level. You can see the, excuse me, where the mouse pointer is. There's 1,519 items selected. So that's all of the items from that bottom level of that hierarchy. You can then add that into the table. This is a good opportunity to use the row option. See all those fields have gone into the table. You can then add year in, retrieve data, and you'll see student enrolments by ANSCO for 2005. The total appears in there as well by default. You can turn that total off by selecting the sum option there. And that C option that just represents the code that sits behind the data. But by default, the label will always be displayed. But if you need the codes, they are there for use. Okay, so might move on to custom data now.
Just going to clear that table and start again.
So in this case here, we've got all these fields that appear in there. They're just the standard groupings that we use. But you might want to create your own recode. A good example is for age. If you wanted to create a grouping age 15 to 24, in the age field, you can just select the 2 age groupings, add those to the next area, save the recode, and once again, deciding where you'd like to save that, in the private or in the NCVER Superstar area. Save those 15 to 24 years. Okay, now in the far left and under the first panel, you'll see there that recode has now appeared. So you can tell straight away that that has been successful. So go back into the table view now and expand on the age field. You'll see at the top of the list there that 15 to 24 years age category. Now that recode there will remain in VOCSTATS for as long as you require it to, or until that database is removed. So if you needed to go in and delete that recode, just go back into custom data. In the first panel, just select the 15 to 24, go down to delete, and just remove that recode. You could create multiple recodes from the same age categories, depending on what you want to do with the data. I might just recreate that state territory by year table again, and just demonstrate the graph view. As you can see, it's quite easy to use. You go to the graph view, select that, and you'll get a basic graph. On the left, you've got different options, depending on what type of graph you would like. And down the bottom, you can customize the graph a little bit by removing some of these jurisdictions. You'll notice that the scale will also change depending on what jurisdictions are in there. That graph can be downloaded as well. Top right hand corner, download that as a PDF, and you can then use that graph in other documents. Okay, so another thing, back in VOCSTATS, and go back into the table view. Top right hand corner, there's an icon with 4 horizontal bars. Under there you've got a help menu, which is an online user guide for using the VOCSTATS application. There's a lot more information in there than what we've provided in this overview. Down the bottom right hand corner there is an inquiry. I might need to go back into VOCSTATS. Inquiry or need help. If you are registered for VOCSTATS and you do find you're having some trouble, you can always just select that link. They'll create an email and that's sent through to the VOCSTATS email address, and then someone will pick that up and get back to you and help you out. So that concludes this webinar. I'll now hand you back over to Tony.
Thanks, Mark and Martin, and hopefully both Mark and Martin have provided you with some insights and some of the basics of how to use VOCSTATS. We are going to open up for the Q&A session now, and as mentioned earlier, questions and comments can be submitted using the questions panel to the right of your screen. I actually only have one question at the moment, but yeah, please enter your questions and we should hopefully get to them. Is it possible to get data at postcode or LGA level? Martin, you want to do that one?
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
Are you going to demonstrate in VOCSTATS?
Yeah, so what I'll do, I'll demonstrate an example where we can look at some data by a geographical region, which is available in VOCSTATS.
So what other geographical breakdowns available that might help? Because I don't think LGA is definitely not available.
We don't have that available, but for example, in this database here, if I clear the table just to start again and make a nice beginning, we'll choose the year as column just to get started. And under the client attributes, for example, you have a lot of different options here. And in this list, we do have some geographical information. Just going through to see if I can find exactly where it is. It's the student SA2 and student SLA. So the student SA2 is the more recent data. So you can just open up that folder. If you're looking at New South Wales, for example, you can drill down into it. You can keep going till you get to the required level, and you can then bring that across, put it into the table, and we click on the retrieve data, and as you can see, this table will provide SA2 data from 2011 onwards. And it's as simple as that. And a good thing to do once you've actually generated your table is to either go back and save it using the Save Table option, as we discussed before, or you can then just download it to Excel if you wanted to do some other calculations or modifications to your data at a later stage, just by clicking the Go button in the top right-hand corner there. I'll just pass it back to Tony.
Yep, I've got another question here. I might throw this one to Mark. Can you create a table for more than one database?
No.
So if we're talking government funded and TVA, for example, or is that possible at all?
You can only create one table at a time. So if you were to create a table in the government funded database, you would then need to save that table in either the private or the NCVER Superstar folder, and then go and create another table in the TVA database. You then can't toggle. Well, you could toggle between the two as long as those databases are saved, but you can't have them both up at the same time. I'd recommend there just creating a table, then downloading into Excel, where you can do some side-by-side comparisons.
Thanks, Mark. Just another one, and I'll answer this one. When will 2006 data be available? And I assume the question's in relation to the vet statistics or the government funded or TVA. We're about to open our collection window, so all of that data will be coming in the very start of next year, and we are hoping that those reports are scheduled for release in July next year. So government funded usually at the beginning of July, and the TVA, subject to a number of things, we're hoping to be released in the middle part to latter part of July. Thank you. Do we have any other questions? I don't understand. Is there an ability to SIG test within VOCSTATS, or is this an Excel task? I'm not sure what SIG test is. Do you know what that is?
No.
Yeah, if the person who submitted that question can clarify, we'll hopefully get to that either now or we'll get back to you after the recording. Any other questions? We just might wait a moment or two just in case that person does clarify. No? Okay. Well, I'm going to wind up the questions. We don't actually have many that have come through, but I would encourage people, when you do register, if you're not registered, or use some of the tips and tricks that you've learnt today. And if you have any questions, we're only too happy to send an email to this website that you've just clicked off, going back one. So the VOCSTATS at ncver.edu.au. That's monitored by a number of people, so hopefully someone should get back to you in the next 1 or 2 business days. So I'm going to thank Mark and Martin for the session today, and thank everyone out there for attending our webinar. A short online evaluation survey will be sent by email, and we will appreciate it if you could take the time to provide feedback. And just finally, some promotional information about some of our other events. The 26th National Vocational Education and Training Research Conference, No Frills, will be co-hosted with Tas TAFE and held in beautiful Hobart from the 5th to the 7th of July 2017. And in addition, NCVER has a number of other events and webinars planned, and for more information on these, please check out the Events tab on our NCVER portal. Thanks again for your time today. Goodbye.